Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Battle of AI Studios. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you for our gracious host, Vitor Fava, for hosting this session today as well. Allow me to introduce our session. The objective here is I'm going to introduce some of the new tools, very cool new stuff that is available for generative AI development. I'm going to focus on Azure and Google Cloud because these are the ones that I know the best. And I think they're doing both a great job at bringing some of these AI Studio experiences to everybody around the world. So we're going to cover some of the Gen AI tooling that's available now. We're going to cover what Azure is offering. We're going to cover what Google Cloud is offering. And of course, we're going to have demos of both of those environments to give you an idea of the stuff that you can do today. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Warner Chavez, and I've been a data solutions consultant for 18 years now. I used to work out of HP in Costa Rica. I'm a solutions architect at Pythian. It's a company based out of Ottawa, Ontario in Canada. I'm honored to be a Microsoft Data Platform MVP. Feel free to reach out to me at warchav or my email, warner@createdatapros.com. Also, feel free to reach out and check out Pythian's blog as well at pythian.com. And feel free to add me on LinkedIn, so search for my name and connect. I love to connect with all the people that are learning from my material. First thing we're going to cover today is the generative AI tools that are becoming available in the industry. We have a new generation of tools that are being developed right now. Generative AI has really taken the IT industry by storm since November 2022 when ChatGPT made its debut. It's been a quite wild ride in the last year and a half with all kinds of new developments from all the major players in the industry. The NVIDIA stock price has shot through the roof because everybody's buying GPUs like crazy. And this technology has immediately fueled a new race between all the big tech players in the market. We have like the cloud players like Microsoft, Google Cloud, Amazon, and then we have tech players like Meta creating new open source generative AI models as well. We have a new development of a Gen AI stack. This is a new generation of tools being built in terms of playgrounds for you to test out your LLMs, the different models, interact with them. There are new tools for testing and evaluating what the models do and being able to compare the output of the same model or compare outputs across models. There are new tools for LLM orchestration. This is to coordinate different operations that have to happen when interacting with a large language model. For example, if you need to retrieve data from a knowledge base and then you retrieve data from the internet and then you mix the data from both sources and then you feed it to the LLM, all this can be done with new LLM orchestration tools. There is also the development now of LLM Ops. This is a new term to cover operations when you deploy large language models in production. So we're talking about monitoring large language models. We're talking about measuring their cost, measuring their effectiveness once they're in production. And finally, there's also the development of the AI studios. These are user-friendly, low-code or no-code experiences that the big hyperscalers are creating inside their environments, usually web-based, and they allow somebody that is not particularly familiar with this technology to go in, create new projects, or go in and interact with the models, get a feel for them, adjust their parameters, play around with them, and some of them allow you to do deployments right there from the web portals as well, so you can do all your prototyping, for example, just based on the AI studios. And this is where we're going to focus our demos today. In the AI studios, what the experience looks like, how you can interact with them, because I feel like this is probably the way that most people will start their journey into developing any sort of application or assistant with generative AI. And like I said, our focus is going to be on Azure, and then I'm going to talk about Google Cloud as well. So let's talk about what Microsoft has available in Azure right now in July of 2024. So Microsoft has a partnership with OpenAI. This is a widely publicized partnership. Microsoft has made very large investment into OpenAI, and that gives them exclusivity to the GPT models. The latest one is GPT-4o. This is a multi-model model that has audio and vision capabilities, and it has 128 1,000 tokens as a context window. This allows you to feed more information into a conversation for the model. Microsoft not only has the OpenAI models, but they also host models from other companies like Mistral or Cohere, and they also host the open source models like Llama 3 from Meta. So you don't have to only be constrained to Microsoft models. Microsoft is also releasing some in-house models like Phi 3, for example. This is a smaller model that is meant to be run on smaller devices as well. So we have a big family of different models, different options that you can choose from. As I mentioned, the flagship model is the one that is available from OpenAI, the GPT-4o, but you have other options if you want to look at other vendors or you want to test out the open source models as well. In terms of tooling, the Azure AI Studio is the new AI premier development portal, and it's going to be the focus of our demo. Microsoft is also investing in some of their own LLM orchestration tools like semantic kernel as well as prompt flow, and I will showcase some of the prompt flow abilities that you have in the AI Studio as well. And then Microsoft is also offering very easy deployment of model endpoints through the AI Studio as well. So you can very quickly expose a custom model or expose a custom assistant through an API endpoint, as well as a growing list of service integrations with some of the other Azure AI services, for example, with Azure AI Search, with Azure AI Document Intelligence, with Voice, Vision, and so on. So let's check out the Azure AI Studio. Okay, I'm connected now here to the Azure AI Studio. The way that Microsoft has organized this experience is in hubs. Here you'll see I have recent projects, we have the project name, and the hub that the project belongs to. Each hub is associated with a regional location. As you can see here, if I go to all hubs, I have 3 hubs right now that I created on my subscription. The East US 2 hub, I have another one in East US, and I have another one in North Central US. The latest one that I created is this one called Warner Demo Hub. If I click on it, then I will be able to look at the resources I associated with this AI hub, as well as the projects that are associated with this AI hub and the subscription information of how this AI hub is getting built. For example, you'll see that this hub has an Azure AI Search connected resource, it has an Azure OpenAI resource, and it has an Azure AI Services resource connected as well. So I can use these resources throughout my hub projects, and these resources live outside of the hub in their own Azure resource group. Inside the hub, I can go and browse all the projects that I have created. So you can see here in this particular hub, I haven't created a project yet. So I can create a new project here. You can see it will belong to this hub. I can give it a different name. Let's just say demo project, and go ahead and click on create a project. And then inside this project, I have a bunch of different tools available to create my different AI endpoints that I might want to develop, or AI models that I might want to fine tune. I'm gonna go back here to all projects. And you can see here at the top level, we also have a model catalog. This is a very neat search experience that Microsoft has developed so you can find the exact model that you are interested in. It is good to have a good filtering experience. As you see here, we have over 1,600 models available already in the Azure AI Studio. We have the GPT models available, we have models from Microsoft available, we have the open source models from Meta available, we have the different Mistral models available, and so on. If you want to filter them, for example, you can go here and you see we get a drop down of all the different family of models that are available in Azure AI Studio. You can also go to model benchmarks, and you can see here in terms of the data collected for all the different models, you have information about model accuracy, you have information about model coherence, model groundedness, model fluency, model relevance, and so on. So the idea here is that you can apply different filters to the different models that Microsoft has in the AI Studio, and then select the one that is best suited for your use case based on some of these metrics that allows you to compare all these different models. You also have the prompt catalog. So this is a tool that Microsoft offers so that you get kick started on writing your own prompts. So you see here, for example, there's some pre-made prompts for traveling assistance, social media post analysis, a real estate agent assistant, for example, that you would give it the information of a property and it would create a nice, friendly real estate listing description, and so on. There's quite a bit of different prompts created here in the prompt catalog, multiple pages here of different ways that you can just use these prompts as like templates and then customize them for your use case. You can also look here at some of the other AI services that Microsoft is trying to integrate with GenAI. For example, we have here speech analytics, we have summarizing, we have language translator, we have vision documents, we have content safety, so that your AI endpoints that you are deploying will always stay filtered and provide the experience safety that you want for your solution. You have document translation, extracting PII, and all kinds of other things that you can do integrated with the LLMs on Azure. You also have some general playgrounds that you can use in terms of chat. As you can see here, for example, I have deployed GPT 3.5 Turbo, Turbo 16K, and GPT-4 Omni, and I can select the model that I want to use in this particular session and just interact with the model quickly if I want to do my own prototyping or test out a prompt or so on. I can also add my own data. So in this case, I would need to create a project. We're not going to do it right now, but I'm going to do it inside the demo project that we created, and you can fine-tune the parameters of your chat session as well. So usually these AI studios provide these playgrounds. So once again, you're trying to do some quick development, quick prototyping of your LLM solution. Also, we have the Assistance Playground. The Assistant is a very cool new API from OpenAI that allows you to create assistants that have their own system prompt. They have their own tools that are enabled for them. They have their own files that they can use for their knowledge base and so on. In terms of how you manage the different models, you have to create deployments. That's how Microsoft has structured their resource management for LLMs. So you deploy a particular model of an LLM, and then once it's deployed, you can use it through the playground or in the chat or directly through an API call. If I go back into the projects, I select that demo project I created earlier. Now we are in the demo project home again, and a lot of the experience is very similar as you'll see here, but some of it changes because now we're inside the project itself. So if I go into the chat playground, now this one will apply to that particular project, and we'll see we have some new tools as well here on the left side. We not only have the chat and the assistants, but now we also have images. For example, if you wanted to do some image generation, in this case DALL-E 2 is available. There's also some tools that are being created right now. Keep in mind, a lot of this is in preview right now as well. In this code experience, for example, what it does is that it makes the AI development easier by not having to maintain a local development environment. Instead, it will create a container curated by Microsoft with all the AI packages that you need and connected to your AI Studio resources, so the actual AI compute will be charged out of your cloud subscription, and then you connect your VS Code application to this compute container. Prompt Flow is also a really cool new experience Microsoft is creating for LLM orchestration. I'm going to go ahead and create one just to show you what it looks like. For example, here we have an example prompt flow for chatting with Wikipedia. You can go ahead and see it in detail, and you will see what it does here. It says in this flow, you will learn how to compose a chat flow, creates a prompt template, asks a question, gets it from Wikipedia, and then formats it to give it to the LLM. And in this particular flow, we're using the LLM tool and the Python tool. We can click on clone. I'm going to go ahead and clone this prompt flow. And we can see this is the prompt flow experience of what it looks like. So it allows you to create a graph to orchestrate the different operations of an LLM. You would have an input here, and then you can see here the system prompt that is entered into this particular LLM. It says you're an AI assistant, reading the transcript of a conversation between an AI and a human, gives it some explanations, examples as well. Then it uses Python to get the wiki URL of a particular topic that you might be interested in. Then, from that step, it gets the search result from the URL, and then it creates a new prompt that injects the search results from Wikipedia. So this allows you to grab information from external sources, manipulate it through Python steps of code, and then feed that back into the LLM as well. So you can do really custom, really more complex operations than you otherwise will be able to do just based on pure prompt engineering. So this is prompt flow. And we're going to see, I think, a lot of adoption of these LLM orchestration tools. Like I said, Microsoft is developing semantic kernel as well as prompt flow. We also have here tracing. So this is a new view that can allow you to see the performance and debug your LLM application. We're not going to go into depth on this one because I don't have an LLM deployed right now. We also have the ability to evaluate an LLM, so you can compare different application performance for AI. You have automated evaluations so that Microsoft can run a benchmark against your deployed AI solution. It could be an assistant that you created. It could be a fine-tuned model. You can also do manual evaluations. This is where you have to actually define a labeled set of inputs and then say what is the expected output, and then the system will evaluate the expected output against the real output. And then we also have the new evaluator library. So you see here Microsoft is creating different evaluators for your LLMs, for example, in terms of self-harm related content evaluation, similarity evaluation, sexual content evaluation, relevance, hate evaluation, groundedness, all these evaluators to make sure that your LLM is staying within its guidelines. And finally, we have the fine-tuning experience inside the AI Studio, where I can create a new fine-tune model. I have to select a model to be the base of my fine-tune, and then I have to feed it the labeled data that will be the input example conversations for the fine-tuned model. If we also look at the resources that are available in the project, we can create new data, we can add new data sources. In terms of Azure Blob Storage, we can get data with storage URL, we can upload files or upload folders, and then this data will be available for the different agents or prompt flows or different deployments that we create or fine-tunes inside this particular project. We also have indexes that we can add. This is using Azure AI Search to create indexes over data or documents and so on. We also have the deployments of the different LLMs that we want to use in our project. And finally, in preview is the different content filters that we can create to apply to our LLM. So you see here, I can name the content filter, I can connect to the AI service, click on next, and then I have different tweaks that I can move around depending on my use case for different categories such as violence, hate, and so on, as well as you can also activate prompt shields for jailbreak or indirect attacks. This is basically when people try to use prompt engineering to get around the guardrails that are built into the model. Also, you can enable block lists, so you can completely disable specific words for being put into the input or the output of the model as well. So as you can see here, Microsoft has really added a lot of features here into the Azure AI Studio to be able to create the different hubs, different projects, to create all these different experiences and tools inside the projects that will let you play around with the LLMs. They will allow you to develop different LLM orchestration operations through prompt flow. They will allow you to evaluate your LLMs. They will allow you to add content safety to them and then deploy them safely through APIs that you can consume and share with the rest of your enterprise. Okay, now let's move over to Google Cloud. Google also has developed a very interesting own family of models called Gemini. Gemini 1.5 Pro is widely available today, July 2024. It is also multi-model, and a big differentiator in Gemini models is that they have very large context windows. Gemini has a 1 million token context window, so it allows you to feed more information in a single call to the LLM. Gemini also comes in many different flavors with different sizes and parameters to fit use cases, even down to small models that you can run local inference on small devices. For example, you could run it on a phone or on a laptop, and it doesn't require its own very powerful cluster of GPUs to run. Google is continuing also to invest in their first-party models, so there's new versions of Gemini that are on their private preview already that have even more features, like a 2 million context window. Google has even mentioned that internally they are testing models that have even 20 million tokens of context window, and this translates to being able to give it larger books in a single call, larger code bases. You could feed it large amounts of video, audio, and so on. Google also hosts models from Anthropic. Anthropic is another startup based on the San Francisco Bay Area, and it is OpenAI's main competitor. Their flagship model is called Claude, a very popular model, well used out and doing very well on the benchmarks. And Google also hosts open source models like Llama 3 as well, similarly to how Microsoft hosts the open source models too. In terms of tooling, Google's flagship AI service called Vertex AI has introduced the Vertex AI Studio, and this is the new AI premier development portal from Google, and is going to be the focus of our Google Cloud demo. Google is also the first-party developer of all the different SDKs for the Gemini family, so this gives Google a really good advantage of being able to develop and direct the development direction of their own model. And this includes tools for orchestration and testing of the Gemini family too. Google also includes, as part of their portal experience, the ease of deployment of model endpoints, as well as a growing list of service integrations with all the different capabilities inside the Vertex AI umbrella in terms of image recognition, speech processing, video processing, and so on, similarly to how Azure is offering this as well. As I mentioned, this is a big race of giants in the AI space to provide the best tooling for people to start developing against these models. So let's go now and check out the Vertex AI Studio on Google Cloud. Okay, so this is the Vertex AI dashboard. So Vertex AI is Google Cloud's machine learning and AI service. So in the Vertex AI dashboard, what we have here is a bunch of different tools that are divided into the more classic ML experience as well as the LLM GenAI experience. There is a general model garden that you can use to filter the different models based on what you're trying to do. As you can see here, there's a bunch of different foundation models available, including the Gemini family of models. We look here, we have Claude models. These are the flagship models from Anthropic, as I mentioned before. And then we got some other Google models that have been developed at Google for different operations, as well as some of the open source models, such as the one from Meta. Then you can look at the different models that you can fine-tune as well, including some, for example, for image generation, like Stable Diffusion. And then we have some other different task-specific solution type of ML models. For example, we see here video action recognition, zero-shot image classification, face stylizer. For example, this is an end-to-end pipeline to do raw face image to stylize faces. We have different classifiers for text. We have different recognizers, for example, for hand gestures. And these are all models that are not really generative AI, but they are part of the Vertex AI umbrella. As you can see here on the side, we have 53 different language models, 89 different vision models, and so on. And they do different tasks such as generation, classification, detection, extraction, all kinds of different ML and AI operations. So Vertex AI itself goes beyond just generative AI. It also integrates all these other type of ML and AI operations. You can create different pipelines. These are the different experiments that you would run with your ML or AI models. It also has really good integration with notebooks, including Colab Enterprise if you want to use that, or also Workbench. Workbench allows you to create specific compute instances that come pre-installed with the tools that you want and configure to run with GPUs so that you can run your ML AI notebooks in an even more customizable controlled environment. After that, we are looking at the actual Vertex AI Studio. I'm going to go into the Vertex AI Studio and we'll see here we get right away Google wants to showcase their Gemini model. First thing we see is multi-model powered by Gemini. We see language models powered by Gemini, vision models powered by Imagen. This is Google's image generation model, as well as the generative speech capabilities, where you can convert speech into text or synthesize speech from text, also using Google's universal speech model. So this is Google's model for speech processing. We have access to the documentation, the API reference, and tutorials as well. And if we wanted to, we can go ahead and try Gemini right away. So I'm just going to show here the experience of trying Gemini. We have here the system instructions. This is similar to the system prompt that is available in the GPT models. So you can give the model a personality or a set of rules that it's supposed to follow, and it will make the model more customizable with a very easy way. You just have to write down a prompt. You have the prompt here as well as the response. Let me open this to make some more room. And we have some actual prompts that you can reuse as well. And you can see here it says browse the prompt gallery. If I go here on the side, we'll see we have the prompt gallery as part of the Vertex AI Studio, similarly to what Azure has, and Azure calls the prompt catalog. We can select the model that we want to interact here in this playground. We can see we have all the different Gemini models available. We can select the region that we want to use. In my case, I'm sticking to US Central. And the different parameters for the model here. In this case, for example, the temperature or the output token limit. So how much tokens can the LLM spend on writing your response? And for example, we can look at this one, extract video chapters. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And it will preload a prompt with a video that Google has embedded here into the experience. And it showcases one of the big differentiators right now that Gemini has, and it is that it can process video natively. Now I'm actually gonna delete that video just to show here the experience. If I wanted to just bring in my own video that I want to process through an LLM, you can actually go here, import from cloud storage, for example. It connects me to my different accounts on the Google Cloud. I'm going to select here my assets, and I just downloaded this free stock footage video from the internet. I'm going to select it, and it gets embedded here into the prompt. And as you see here, the tokens bump up quite a bit because video also consumes tokens, right? So now we're up to 60,834 tokens. And this is where having a big context window makes a big difference if you're going to process, for example, things like audio and video that will consume a lot more tokens than just text. And then let's look at the prompt here. For example, it says chapterize the video content, grouping the video content automatically into chapters, provide a summary, capture key events and highlights. Don't make up any info, please. Return the result in a JSON format as timecode and chapter summaries. We can go ahead and run this prompt now. And we can see here, we're starting to get in the output from Gemini. As requested, we wanted it to be JSON. And also as requested, we wanted time codes as well as chapter summaries of what is happening in the video. Notice that this video is just raw video. It does not have any sort of transcript or subtitles associated to it. So Gemini is doing this by actually looking at the video contents and then providing us this description. And for example, if we look at the output, it says time code 230 to 305. An elephant walks across a road with a car driving past in the distance. And if we go back, I'm going to open the actual video that I used here in this demo. And let's go into the 2-minute and 30 mark. So I'm going to find that right here. 2 minutes and 30. It's right there. And as we can see here, there's the description that Gemini created. We see the elephant is walking on the road. We see the truck here that is coming up from the distance as well, right? And if we look, for example, and we can look, for example, some of the other descriptions. 314, crocodile rests on the bank of a river. So let's go to 314 here. And as we can see as well, Gemini properly found the time code, properly identified this as a new quote-unquote chapter in the video and gave us the right timestamp. So this is really cool stuff that we can do nowadays through LLMs that are multi-model, right? You could build all kinds of different capabilities of processing video, audio, and images, summarizing, categorizing, classifying, using these models, general models, without having to create a bunch of different specific purpose models for your use case, having to label the data, and so on. So this is really nice as well. You can save your different prompts if you want so that you can reuse them. And you can also insert not just, in this case, video, but as I mentioned before, image as well as audio. I'm going to go back here. I am not going to save it. And as you can see here, we have some of the other use cases, starting a conversation, translating some text. You can access the API through an API code, or you can tune a model similarly to how you can tune it in Azure as well. You can tune a model here in Google Cloud so that it is trained with your actual data. There is also an experience to generate images with vision. Here, I don't have access to this particular experience. It is gated right now, so I cannot generate images right now with Imagen, but hopefully it will be publicly available soon. And then there's also the experience of doing text-to-speech operations as well as speech-to-text. And you get to pick from some different voices as well, some different speed settings for generating text-to-speech. And also, as I mentioned, speech to text. So you can upload an audio file from your computer, or you can record your voice live and have Google's model transcribe it. For example, I can say record your voice. I'm going to start. I'm going to allow the microphone. Hello team, this has been a great presentation of all the capabilities inside the different AI studios from the hyperscalers. I can go ahead and click on submit after I record that. And you can see here, right at the bottom, transcription. Hello team, this has been a great presentation of all the capabilities inside the different AI studios from the hyperscalers. And of course, this is something that you could expose, or is already exposed by Google through an API. You can use it to really quickly process different recordings that you might have from call centers, maybe from tech support, maybe from reviews, surveys, etc., that people would just rather talk instead of having to write something down. Once you transcribe it, you can then use it for your own purposes in terms of analytics, in terms of feeding it to an LLM, and so on. Inside the Vertex AI Studio, we also have the ability to have extensions. Extensions allow you to easily connect a large language model to APIs so that users have access to data and functionality with little code. And this is in preview right now. You can go ahead and create an extension. You have to give it a name, you can give it a description, and then we have different extensions. Either Code Interpreter or Vertex AI Search are built in. So once again, this is similar to those extra capabilities that we saw in the Azure side, where you could create assistants, or you can do something extra with prompt flow to make a more complex solution. The idea here on Google Cloud is you create different extensions to give your LLMs extra capabilities that they don't have natively. In this case, for example, using Code Interpreter to be able to generate code and run it, or to use the Vertex AI Search to index some documents and then feed that into a RAG application, retrieval augmented generation application to your LLM. All right. Finally, if you do have some data that you want to use in your Vertex AI projects, there's a feature store in Vertex AI datasets labeling. These capabilities are not only used for generative AI, but they can be used for general ML and AI development too. There's also the abilities to train models, the experiments, metadata for the different models. Once again, this goes beyond GenAI. They can be used for other general purpose AI or ML models. And you can see here, you can also deploy and use your models. You have a model registry. Once you've deployed your own models, you can do some things like online predictions, batch predictions. You can monitor your models. You can do vector search, all integrated here on the Vertex AI dashboard. So really cool capabilities, and also very unique how the Gemini model has that native video capability, as well as the very large context window capabilities as well. Okay, so I hope those demos gave you a good idea of what is being offered right now, both in Azure and Google Cloud. This space is extremely competitive right now. There is a race to democratize and make AI development as easy as possible. So both of these providers are investing a lot right now in making AI testing, playgrounds development as easy as possible, so we get more AI solutions out in the field as quickly as possible as well. Now keep in mind that I'm just showcasing Azure and Google because they are the ones that I've played around with the most, but we have similar tools as well developed from vendors such as AWS, Alibaba, and more, and they might be developing some really good stuff as well. You could look on that on your own as well. The main cloud providers, they're all investing a lot in making it very easy to just get up and running. And I think data and AI professionals all need to familiarize themselves with this new set of tools in the new GenAI stack, starting with the AI studios so that we can prototype solutions quickly, then looking at LLM orchestration tools so that we can really make great custom solutions that can go into production. And then once they're in production, we need to familiarize ourselves with LLM ops so we can keep those AI solutions with good responses to our users' prompts once they are live in production. Thank you again for joining me today. Thank you, Vitor, for hosting this session. And if you have any questions, just put them in the comments below. Until next time, thanks for watching.